The longer I waited for the perfect moment, the more I was feeding my fear of starting. Welcome to the Switch Podcast, where we explore powerful mindset shifts to help you feel better about mental health and life. I'm your host, Giovanni, and each episode we dive into stories, strategies, and insights to help you switch perspectives and thrive. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Let's get started. I want to ask you something. How many times have you wanted to start something new, but you got stuck in your head? Maybe you had a great idea, but you overthought it to the point that you talked yourself out of even trying. I know that feeling all too well. And in today's episode, we're talking about something that holds so many of us back: overthinking. We're going to unpack why we get stuck in this cycle, and more importantly, how to make the switch from overthinking to taking real action. Now, I'll be real with you. The Switch podcast almost didn't happen. I spent so much time overanalyzing every detail. I wondered if the idea was good enough. Am I qualified to talk about this? Would people listen? Do I even have the right equipment? I kept telling myself, maybe I should wait until everything is perfect. But here's the thing. Perfection never comes. The more I overthought, the further away this podcast drifted. And then it hit me. The longer I waited for the perfect moment, the more I was feeding my fear of starting. So I decided to take one small step. I recorded my first voice memo just to hear what it would sound like. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. And that start is why we're here right now. Now let's get into why we overthink. Overthinking is like mental quicksand. The more you struggle with it, the deeper you sink. It usually stems from fear. The fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. And we convince ourselves that if we just think it through a little bit more, we'll somehow avoid those fears. But in reality, we're just delaying action. The switch happens when we recognize that overthinking is just another form of procrastination. It feels productive because our minds are busy, but it's not getting us anywhere. Once I understood that, I realized the only way out was through the fact that I needed to take action. So, how do you make that switch? You have to stop waiting for everything to be perfect and start moving forward. The mindset shift is this: I don't have to have it all figured out to start. That simple shift allowed me to stop obsessing over every detail of this podcast and actually record something. Was it perfect? No, but it was real and it was progress. Now, here's how you can make that same switch. First things first, write it down. Get all your thoughts out of your head and onto some paper. Brain dump everything you're overthinking. This clears the mental clutter. Number 2, take one small step. Identify the smallest possible step that you can take today, not next week, not next month, today. For me, that small step was recording a voice memo. Create accountability. That's the third thing. Tell someone about your goal. Set a deadline. And when other people know about it, you're more likely to follow through. Fourth thing is to act before you're ready. You're never going to feel 100% ready. So start anyway. Progress is better than perfection. Look, overthinking is something that we all deal with, but it doesn't have to keep you stuck. The switch is simple, but powerful. Stop waiting. Start moving. I hope this episode encourages you to take the first step toward whatever you've been holding back on. Remember, you don't need all the answers to begin. You just need to start. Until next time, take care and keep switching your perspective.